The Wimmera Development Association is made up of 5 shires and Horsham Rural City Council, Western Victoria, from the South Australian border across to the Grampians. The association has been in place for 23 years and we undertake project work across the 5 shires in the regional and economic development fields. We have a large role in advocacy and lobbying with state and federal government agencies, and we assist with rural investment attraction for regional and economic development. We have exceptional working relationships with all levels of government and often are contacted by ministers and ministers' departments to discuss issues for the region. So why the Wimmera Internship program? WDA is the lead economic and community development organisation across the Wimmera Southern Mallee region, and we're committed to supporting the region with projects such as this. Staff recruitment and retention in rural communities has been seen as a big challenge for rural councils, health services, businesses, schools and community groups for many, many years. These issues have also been key recurring themes at the Rural Council Victoria Rural Summits. This program aims to assist these businesses with undergraduate connections for project work and possible future employees. So the Wimmera Internship program is a bit of a taste test for students, both local students coming back as well as metropolitan and international students coming out to the regions, giving them a taste of what the region has to offer and experiencing some of that country hospitality that country areas are really well known for. Over the last few years with the Rural Council's summits, we've highlighted skill gaps at a number of these summits, and the skill gaps are in areas of accountancy, engineering, information technology, town planning and building surveying. In 2011-2012, Wimmera Development Association undertook the pilot program in conjunction and funded by RCV. From this program we had a lot of wonderful feedback from both employers, students and the universities, and we had one of the students was placed on a graduate program through Northern Grampians Council, Shire Council. In 2012-2013, Wimmera Development Association recognised that the program had been very, very successful the previous year with the great feedback, and we wanted to continue to build on that. So last year we actually self-funded the program, and we had 18 students participate in the program across the Wimmera Southern Mallee. Students were located in Nil in Coniva, Warwick Nabil in Yarriambiack, Horsham and Stawell. Last year's participants, we actually saw 50% of the participants being local, the students from the local area. So how did we go about it? The students are sourced from Federation University and Trobe Universities, and these two universities are the ones that we focus on, mainly because we've already got existing relationships with them. Federation University has a campus in Horsham and also in Stawell. So we have very, very close ties to Federation University already, so we just continually building on that. We've had really positive engagement from lecturers as part of the program goes, to the stage now that the lecturers are actually getting in touch with us to find out when the program information for the coming year is going to be put out for the students and the universities. And the lecturers are also going that next step, and when that information does come out, the lecturers are actually targeting students and emailing students directly and suggesting that they apply to become part of the program. So it's really getting some good legs with the universities. The students apply by expression of interest. This year we've gone electronic on the WDA website, and we have the expression of interest forms for the students and also businesses online. And this year's program, we've received 49 applications across those 5 skill shortage areas, and that's including a mix of local students, metropolitan and international students. This year we will actually see quite a smaller contingent of local students return to the region, with a number of metropolitan and international students coming into the region. The goal for this year's program is to place 25 to 30 students across the region. From the host business side of things, we target councils, Water Authority, the Catchment Management Authority, Wimmera Uniting Care, Horsham Hydraulics, Grampians Homes are taking on another structural engineer this year. We go out to the larger businesses across the region and see if we can assist them. And with that assistance, we actually, when we're looking for host employers, we ask the employers to actually put together a project for the students to undertake during their placement, a project that the students can actually take some ownership in, so that they're working on something that is really hands-on and really relevant to them, and something that the business can have a good outcome from. Last year we had one of the students in the region, and it was his role to go through with one of the shires and look at their procurement of computer and stationery supplies, and come up with a bit of a report on how to streamline the processes or reduce expenditure in those areas. So these projects are things that may possibly be smaller projects, but projects that businesses or councils don't have the capacity in their day-to-day operations to undertake. The employers are also asked to commit to pay a minimum wage, and the reason we do this is by the employer committing to pay a wage, they're more likely to put together a project that is going to be beneficial to them, but also beneficial to the student. We've all heard the stories about people having work experience, placement, and it's being stuck in an office, and they're doing an administration traineeship or finance, and they sit in an office filing for a week. So that's what we want to get away from. We really want to have some good skills come out of these placement programs. This year we have a very large amount of engineering students that have applied, which is fantastic, but unfortunately we don't have the engineering jobs out there, and that's why a lot of the students are actually looking at programs such as these to get the experience, because at the moment, just with the infrastructure development projects around the state on hold, there is a little bit less in the engineering field for the students to get their teeth into at the moment. So that's something that we'll need to watch the space and see how things go in future years. As far as student support goes, last year we had a number of students in the same location, and what we try and do with those students is house them at the same, or have their placement period overlap with a couple of other students, and then what we do is we organise share accommodation for them at a cabin park or at a motel. They have their own room, but just share a few shared facilities. And that way they're not in a new area without anyone they know, or without anyone to hang out with after work. So we try and assist it as far as that goes. Many students still have a cost associated with their home base. So as I said, we have the minimum wage that's paid by the host employer. Wimmera Development Association, as far as our side of the program goes, we subsidise the accommodation. Last year, due to the large amount of local students, we actually had a full accommodation subsidy. So for the students that we had in place last year, we paid about $15,000 for accommodation. So it's a fairly significant investment to the program, but it's a way that these students can actually get out and try an experience away from their home base. We also organise a few social get-togethers over the period of their placement, whether that be going out for tea, having a few drinks one night, or a social bowling get-together at the bowling alley. We just have a couple of things like that, just to get the interns in all together, having a bit of a chat with each other about their their placements. We also try and assist with a connection for all of the students with a local group of their choice. So if it's a footy club, we'll try and get a few connections for them to get involved so they can do some pre-season training, that type of thing. And the universities are also assisting with career discussions as well before they go into the placement program. Just a bit of an overview of the timeline of what we do and how we go about it. So in July we open the information to universities and past employers, just letting them know that the program is coming up shortly. August we open expressions of interest to students and also host employers. Mid-September we close the expressions of interest and move on to interviewing the interns, and all of the applicants are interviewed. It's very important to touch base with the students and get a little bit more information out of them, especially with some of the international students. Some of their applications can be quite basic, the way they've completed some of the answers. So it's always good to get a touch base and get a bit of a background feel on how they're placed as far as their studies go, and also what some of their interests are. In the beginning of October, we get the employers. We match the students to the employers, and then get the interns and the employers to have a chat to each other and make sure that they are actually matched to that business, and they'll be able to achieve what is outlined for that position over the placement. Mid-October, placements are confirmed, and in mid-November, the internships commence. So we have students in the region from mid-November until the end of February, and those placement periods can be anywhere from 4 weeks, 4 weeks for a student. Last year we had quite a number of students in the region for up to 12 weeks. So that's a really great length of a placement. And those students really benefited from getting some great hands-on experience. Internships finish at the end of February, and then by the end of March we have the post-program surveys for the employers and also the interns completed, and we then have our reporting that needs to be completed. Just a bit of information about the cost of the program. So for the association this year, our approximate budget is around the $30,000. The majority of that will be made up of accommodation. As I said, this year we're aiming to have 25 to 30 interns in the field. Last year we only had 18, and half of those were local students, so we didn't need to pay for accommodation for them. So this year we'll have quite a number of students that we're paying accommodation for. We have the travel for WDA. We go around a couple of times over the program and visit the students to see how they're going, and also communicate with the employers while they're on placement. There's administration involved in that, advertising for expression of interest and host employers at the beginning of the program, and also project management. I'd just like to, just on closing, I'd just like to quote Pat Thompson from Federation University, who states that programs such as these are needed to validate the student studies and give them hands-on work experience. The growth that he's seen in the students over the time of the placements, when they get back to uni after their placement period, has just been outstanding, and it really locks in why the students are doing what they're doing. We had a number of students that were in the region last year that were weighing up whether in fact their program or their studies were the right area for them. And after being in the workplace and actually being able to put some of that learning into real life hands-on experience, they've decided that that's definitely the way they want to go. So it's really locked it in their mind. The employers have come out with a great benefit, and we've also had new blood coming into the region and seeing what's on offer. A lot of the feedback from the students is after doing the placement period, they would definitely look at regional employment down the track if the opportunities were there, and compared to metropolitan opportunities, they really love the lifestyle, the fact that everyone knows each other, and that in a regional area, you're undertaking such a wide range of job roles rather than just a specific area as you would be in a metropolitan area. You're seeing the whole job from start to finish. So that is my presentation. If anyone would like to ask any questions, feel free. I guess the biggest thing is the opportunities are available there, but we will definitely, after each year we do a survey, and I have kept in touch with the students from the last 2 years. We have currently, from the first year, we have one of the students in a graduate program at Northern Grampian Shire. We have another couple that are picking up a little bit of work with their placement hosts, like on uni leave periods. We have a number of students, I think we've got about 5 students at this stage that I know of that have gone on to gaining employment after graduating, and they have actually chosen to go to a regional area. Unfortunately, it's not the Wimmera Southern Valley, but they have, when they started their university, they were looking at a metropolitan job at the end, and they've actually moved into a regional area. As I said, it's not our area, but hey, it's all a step in the right direction, getting them back out into the regions. As far as the businesses go, the business's contribution is the wage and their time managing that student. As far as the program goes, we don't ask for any contribution to accommodation. That's something that at this stage we're happy to look at. As far as the accommodation subsidy goes, the accommodation subsidy moving forward may need to be adjusted, just depending on, as I said, this year, for example, we've only got 5 or 6 local students, so we may need to look at adjusting that so it is a percentage paid rather than a full accommodation subsidy. As far as our time goes, there is, I suppose, just getting everything on the roll. There's a bit of time getting the expressions of interest up and running, information out to universities. Also, when it comes to the interviews, I've spent 5 days in the last 2 weeks touching base with those students, and had a student nearly every half hour for those 5 days that we've touched base with.